RC,
Yes,
good to see
ma'am.
you. How we doing? All
Doing
over the
well. Good to
combine
see you.
stuff.
Good to see you as well. And Stephen A., you are right too.
Right.
He's such a traitor.
Do you think the Packers should be frustrated with Rodgers?
No, and you know why? Because the Green Bay Packers put themselves in this position. The Green Bay Packers allowed Aaron Rodgers to sit at the table throughout last year and even at the beginning of training camp and make his contract what it is going into 2022. They allowed him to have the responsibility or the privilege of making roster changes and roster moves. And now they've allowed him to hold this team hostage. And Aaron Rodgers is doing exactly what a great future Hall of Fame player should do. He's taking his time. When you have leverage, when you have the power as a player, it is incumbent that you use it. It is mandatory that you use it. And Aaron Rodgers shouldn't rush his decision for the Green Bay Packers. And I believe as well, that's why Matt LaFleur is taking the approach that he's taken. Matt LaFleur didn't look frustrated to me. Matt LaFleur looked patient. Matt LaFleur looked like a guy that understood and kind of felt that Aaron Rodgers will be back with the Green Bay Packers at the beginning of the season. So whether he makes that decision on Monday, whether he makes that decision on Friday, or if that decision doesn't come until April, the Green Bay Packers have no choice but to wait. They can't call Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, if you don't make a decision by tomorrow, we are cutting you. Because when you let him rework his contract, you knowing that his cap hit is going to be or was going to be what it will be in 2022, you should have been prepared for this. You should have been working your way to having all contingency plans in place to be ready to adapt and adjust based on Aaron Rodgers' decision. And so now you can't be surprised that he may be being selfish or that he may be thinking of himself because you allowed him to do it.
I feel where you're coming from, Ryan. I totally understand it. But I still think that they should be frustrated. You can put yourself in a position where somebody can exercise leverage, and that's true, but there's also something called an abuse of power. And I think that that's something that we have to look at when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, right now, we know how I feel about him. I think he's the baddest man I've ever seen at the quarterback position from a talent perspective. Certainly not the resume and results that the great like Tom Brady has. But in terms of his talent, Aaron Rodgers is the baddest that I've ever seen. And bad meaning good. And I got a lot of love and respect for him in that regard. The problem that I have is that I can't stand when people walk around acting like champions when they're not. And that's a big issue. I have no problem with Aaron Rodgers if Aaron Rodgers is just like this right now, Ryan. If he closed the deal, ended up at SoFi, handled their business, wins the Super Bowl championship and say, yeah, y'all treated me like garbage, y'all were disrespecting me, y'all weren't paying enough attention to the things that I wanted for years. Now it's my turn. I totally understand that. But that's not what happened. What happened is that he came up short in inclement weather at Lambeau Field against Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers, and he couldn't put 14 points on the board. He didn't lose 42-40 or something like that. Remember years ago when he lost a playoff game to Arizona and it was like bombs away and he dropped over 40 and they lost? No, his offense couldn't do anything. The Green Bay Packers, as horrible and awful as Matt LaFleur's special teams was, okay? A special teams that he did not fix all year long. As horrible as that was, they still only ended up with 13 points at Lambeau Field, and you still couldn't beat them. And so for me, when that's what the backdrop is, I'm not saying that you don't take time to think about your decision or whatever the case may be, but it almost seems like you want the question marks. You want the storylines. This is why both you and I said, we done with this story.
Yeah.
Call us when you made a decision.
Yep.
We wouldn't be, we never said that about Tom Brady. By the way, Tom Brady, we're talking about that later on in the show because of some things going on with him. Tell us when we've been tired of talking about Tom Brady. You know why? Because he got it done. He got it done. But if somebody don't get it done, we don't like you walking around acting like you did get it done. And in the case of Aaron Rodgers, in the playoffs, I know he's the MVP, two-time reigning MVP. The numbers speak for themselves during the regular season. But despite back-to-back 13-3 seasons, all right, or actually 13-3, 13-3, 13-3, and then 13-4.
13-4, yep.
All right, despite that, not one single Super Bowl appearance let alone Super Bowl title, to show for it. I'm sorry. That's how I feel.
Well, I hear you, but we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, right? And the Green Bay Packers aren't necessarily paying attention to whether or not Aaron Rodgers has won a championship in the last 2 years. Because what they do know is for the last 2 years, he's been the best quarterback in football. And Aaron Rodgers knows that as well. The one thing I always say about football players or any athlete is you are an independent contractor. When Aaron Rodgers is thinking of Aaron Rodgers, when Aaron Rodgers is making Aaron Rodgers decisions, he's making those decisions off of what Aaron Rodgers has done. And he's going to look at the 17 games that he played last season, and he's going to be like, you know what? In 2 of those games, I could have been better. I could have been better against the New Orleans Saints. I could have been better against the San Francisco 49ers. But for the rest of them, I was the best that they ever had out there. I was the baddest man walking in every stadium I was in. And that's the way Aaron Rodgers feels. And so when Aaron Rodgers is making this decision, he ain't making this decision like, oh, I didn't get a ring. He's making a decision that for the last 2 years, playing the position I play, the most powerful and the most meaningful, the most important position in football, I'm the best that's doing it. The Green Bay Packers know that, and Aaron Rodgers knows that. The Green Bay Packers knew that the first day of training camp when they allowed him to rework his contract. The Green Bay Packers also knew that when they said, you know what, we never promised Aaron Rodgers to trade because they know they can't get anybody better, Stephen A. Aaron Rodgers is operating from a position of power. You are right. And he may be abusing that power. But as a former player, as someone that was on the NFLPA executive board, I say good for him. They do it all the time. The teams hold the contracts, they hold the leverage, they hold the power, and they do with you as they please. No matter what that contract says.
Don't get it twisted. I'm not favoring the Green Bay Packers. I have no problem with them suffering. I'm talking about us having to talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. I don't give a damn about the Green Bay Packers. You absolutely right. They deserve it. You absolutely right. They deserve it. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.